Thanks to Call Sheet for sponsoring Mets Daily. Use that code FanArchBaseball to get $10 when you trade 10. Before we get into the negative of the Mets, let's start with the New York Knicks. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to the NBA Finals. You see my voice is gone from the celebration last night for the first time since I was 8 years old. 1999, we're going to the Finals. And listen, that was a lockout-shortened season, so does it even count as much? Probably not. Probably not. They lost to the Spurs, and now they might face the Spurs again. We'll see the Spurs or Thunder. Hopefully they do get out 7 games, but the Knicks get a 9 days of rest now before the NBA Finals. What a moment. I was watching American Whiskey, celebrated 7th Ave. Man, it was spectacular. I got emotional out there just looking around. Obviously, everyone's looking for side talk in the cameras. To me, that didn't mean much. Obviously, I had to get videos and stuff, but I just wanted to soak in the moment and look around and just realize, thank you, Mom and Dad, for making me a New Yorker. And thank you for making me a Knicks fan. And listen, the job's not done yet. 4 more wins to go for a championship. All right, now let's get to the ugly. The New York Mets suck. This is a pathetic baseball team. This is a team that looks like they do not give a rat's ass about winning games. It looks like a team that is full of 26 individual players and not a team. The closest they come to being a collective unit is when they put on now what looks like a freaking stupid hard hat and jacket. At first, I loved it because it was like, all right, some team unity, something. Now it's like it's 7-0, and Marcus Semien, it's a solo homer, and we're putting a hard hat on. It's like, wow, what do you even do at this point? I mean, this team's at rock bottom. They refuse to fire the manager, which, again, as I say over and over and over, it might not make a difference. But show they give a rat's ass about the franchise. Continuing to trot out a lifeless manager who has no pulse of this locker room, of this clubhouse, is laughable. And it's insanity. And doing the same thing over and over defines insanity. That's what the Mets are doing. They keep trotting out the same product every day. They try to bring up a new kid. Let's see if he can spark the team. Oh, we'll win 1 game, lose 7. I mean, what else is there to do when it comes to, Ryan Clifford will probably be the next guy. You're waiting on guys to come back from injuries. But, it's not looking like a 2024, Candelita Latin pop star is coming to save the New York Mets right now. And to me, I think a shockwave needs to be sent. And listen, I know people have mentioned Troy Snicker as well. I just don't see a situation where a hitting coach 2 months in they fire. Maybe it could, but firing multiple coaches is a lot tougher than just moving on from the manager. And at this point, make Kai Correa the manager. Maybe the Mets are like, you know what? We want Beltran or Cora, but they're not available at the moment. Beltran with, Hall of Fame coming up, commitments. He might not commit to the job. We're just going to let it ride out. But to me, that's like, it shows you don't care, man. How do you expect the fan base to show up in the second half? You haven't sold the tickets yet. So anyone in their right mind buying it, you got people buying tickets for Pete Alonso's return. I could care less about that game. You got people maybe getting tickets for like a bobblehead day here and there, but ain't no bobblehead, even if it's made of gold, that's getting people to the ballpark, man. You're 10 games under 500. You are one of the worst teams in baseball. What else can you say? The New York Mets are tied for the 4th worst team in baseball. We're 22-32. We're in the cellar in the NL East. We're 14 back of the Atlanta Braves. We are 7.5 back of the wild card. Is the season over? No. You got, you're 54 in with 108 to play, but it's quickly slipping out of your grasp. And I just don't know if trotting out the same manager, he doesn't play, it's on the players. I agree, but you can't trade a roster. You can't release players. You just can't do that. To me, they need a new voice, and I'm not going to keep yelling and screaming about firing Mendoza, but it's gotten laughable. And listen, even Nolan McLean's part of this mess. Gives up another 7 runs on Monday and Memorial Day, and it's not crazy to say the Mets may have to consider demoting Nolan McLean. Doesn't mean he won't be back. That doesn't mean he won't be a star one day. But, Nolan McLean got off to that hot start last year and, was a Rookie of the Year favorite. And we talked about how this guy can be an ace, and he's that dude. It's not good what we're seeing here. And he's putting the Mets in a position they have no chance when he leaves the game. Giving up 7 earned runs on Monday. 5 hits, 7 earned runs, including 2 homers. Gave up 9 runs, 6 of them earned his last start. 3 runs the start prior. 3-2 prior to that. 3-2 prior to that. I mean, he does not look anywhere close to the guy we saw at the end of last year. And he doesn't really look anywhere close to the guy we even saw the first 4 starts this year. Something is off with Nolan McLean. And he's had sprinkles this year of greatness. But the last 2 starts are quite alarming. 4 home runs in the last 2 starts. It's very alarming. And I don't think a demotion would hurt. Maybe he's hurt. That could be another option. You put him, add another guy to the Mets injured list. But something is off with Nolan McLean. And now I'm a little bit worried. And I don't think people are out of their minds to say to demote him. I don't think it's a terrible idea just to get maybe his mind right and get him work on his stuff down in AAA. Because you can't work on your stuff right now. This team's 10 games under 500. You already have starters out, so there's not many options if you demote him. That's the issue. It's like you're going to go right to Jack Wenninger next, probably. But I don't know what the answer is for McLean. Maybe it's just work it out. And Willard, this is on Willard too. The pitching coach, new pitching coach, rookie pitching coach. This is an inept staff right now. And Snicker has a lot of experience as a hitting coach. So that's why it's sad to see the offense be this bad, because he's a guy who had success in Houston. Willard hasn't been a pitching coach. This was Mendoza's first job 2 years ago. Kai Correa's never managed, so if he steps in, he's only managed a couple games when he took over for Gabe Kapler a couple years ago. But this is a staff that does not have a boatload of experience, and that's a problem. And you certainly don't trust a guy with experience like Tim Leiper. Guys getting thrown out, too. I mean, listen, you talk about the pitching, McLean, you miss Jeremy Hefner, it looks like. And I hate to go back to these guys. But, maybe there was the wrong scapegoats last year. Maybe they should have stayed, and Mendoza should have been gone. Think about that. The base running has been bad. Like, they got guys attempting seals getting thrown out. They got guys oversliding bags. They got bad base running. You miss Antoine Richardson, too, man. And look at those Braves in first place. It's a sad state of affairs if you're a Met fan right now, guys. And, thank God for the New York Knicks saving us, but this is going to be a long summer. And again, we'll have an announcement here in the coming days about this show and me and everything going on. But it's not good. And the Mets are underdogs every day, including on call sheet against the Cincinnati Reds. Baseball season is in full force. You can trade every game on call sheet. The Mets are trading at 2% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out $3,700 with a win. The Mets are trading at a probability of 47% to beat the Cincinnati Reds tonight at Citi Field, as they're doing that bobblehead 86. It's an 86 T-shirt tonight. So the Mets having to do weekday giveaways to get anyone in the building. At this point, every day they got to do a giveaway. Giveaways every game, folks. They're trading at 53%. So a $100 trade pays out $205, and I'm Mr. 205, my birthday. If the Mets win, you can pick any MLB market. On call sheet, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the call sheet app. Use code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, trade on anything. Freddie Peralta might be getting traded at some point, and he said he'd love to come back to the Mets as a free agent. At this point, yes. The way the Mets are playing, the Mets will trade Freddie Peralta. They got reinforcements on the way. Maybe this will help. Jared Young. I mean, who would have thought we're excited about Jared Young's return? And A.J. Minter are expected to be activated potentially today, if not tomorrow. But today they expect Minter and Young and Minter. Young probably will get some starts over Tyrone Taylor, who's now probably going to end up on the IL. Minter likely replaces Pintaro and becomes one of the Mets, key relievers. What's sad is like they have some, with Minter back now. You got Minter, Raley, Williams, Weaver, Brazoban. Like you have a pretty good bullpen. The lineup's not performing and they're hurt, and the coaching sucks. And it's just, I don't know. It's not like this team is like you look at this roster and you're like, oh, this team's terrible. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say, but hopefully they help. And then on that injury front, Taylor, hip injury, likely going to the IL, so I assume Young replaces him. It would have been MJ Melendez, but Melendez lived to see another day now, I would imagine, as Taylor's going to, Jared Young will just replace Taylor, who goes to the IL. Lindor has begun baseball activity, except still no timetable yet. So, again, that probably is going to be late June for Lindor. Sanga will likely have a rehab start Thursday, so Sanga should be back here in the next couple of weeks. And Jorge Polanco expected to begin rehab games potentially later this week. So, if Polanco comes back, Lindor comes back, maybe some reinforcements, they get this team going. I mean, you're 10 under. So enough you have to go on like a win 10 out of 12 or, at least 6 out of 8, 14 out of 17. You got to go on a real heater here to get around 500 and get this thing going. And I don't know what reinforcements are going to do that. It's certainly not going to be Young and Minter that get the Mets on a 10-game win streak here. But, Polanco being healthy in that bat will help. Carlos Mendoza said he's mostly the DH when he comes back. And, no crap. You were playing him at first base with an Achilles injury in the first week of the season. You made this thing worse than it should have been. So, yes, Jorge Polanco should be the everyday DH. And it's just unfortunate, Mark Viento's certainly playing to raise that trade value, and I hope the Mets trade him. Get Ryan Clifford up here, man. If you're going to be 10 games under 500, and Mark Vientos has done fine at first base, but I'm sick and tired of watching him. I'm tired of it. I'd rather see, you're going to call up all the kids, give me some pop in the lineup potential with Ryan Clifford in the big leagues, and have Ryan Clifford play first base. We're going to see Vientos every single day because there's no other option, especially with Polanco coming back as a full-time DH. He said he might play once or twice at first. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. That's going to be the once or twice games he gets hurt again. I don't expect Polanco to play first. He is a dead man walking. He's got to just be a hitter. If he's out here, he's got to just help this team score some runs, produce some runs. But I'd like to see Ryan Clifford up here at this point, hitting some more homers in AAA this last couple days, really starting to hit the ball well, see the ball well with the better weather. I know he strikes out a lot, but so does Mark Vientos. I've seen Mark Vientos strike out for 4 years now. I don't need to see it anymore. And we're seeing it every day because they have no other real choice. Beatty didn't look good there, and Beatty's got to play third with everything going on. They have a Beatty-Vientos problem. That's the reality is Beatty and Vientos, they have a problem. Well, reinforcements on the way. Let's see if they get this thing going, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Hit that thumbs up in the video. Please go subscribe to my YouTube, Jake Brown Live. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You can see all my videos last night from 7th Ave and the Knicks celebration. Let's go Knicks. How sweet it is. Thank you, Knicks. At least one orange and blue team in New York cares about winning. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on Mets Daily.